today we're going to cover how to manage your menu links in a Wix Studio website. So if you have created a new page and you want to link it, or maybe you're deactivating a page and you want to remove that from your navigation, we're going to talk about how to manage that menu, and we're also going to talk about, particularly for deactivating pages, how to hide them and make sure that there's no way that your customers or Google are going to get to those deactivated web pages, but hide them in a way that you still have the content if you ever want to bring that page back or copy and paste elements from that page to a new page. So we're going to jump right in. On your home page, or actually any of your pages, you can just click into this menu element. We're going to go to Manage Menu. Now, when that menu pops up, when that menu pops up on the left, you can see all of these are linked currently to pages. So that's just denoted by this little icon. We can drag this little waffle on the left here, these blue things, click and hold, and drag elements up and down to rearrange them in this menu if we want. So if we just want, this to be below about or above about, all we have to do is click and hold that and drag it. We can also use this function to nest items in a menu. So if I kind of click and hold, and as if I'm going to drop it in this about file, a little branch will open below that to say, do you want to nest this? And I can nest components under other items that way, right? And you can see this little branch now. Or if that's a mistake, because I don't actually want that, I can just drag this right back out and put it right back where it was. Now, to add things to a menu, or like this about menu, let's say I want to add things underneath this so that when I hover over that item, different options show up. So you can come down to the bottom of this menu, click Add an Item, and here you can do lots of things. So you can add different site pages. You can add a link or an anchor. We'll talk more about that in a second. So if you want to link out to someone else's page or another business page, you can absolutely use this to do that. So I'll just click in there really fast and say, let's say we're going to add a link. Then we get this option showing up. So if it's a web address, then I just paste the www here. We always want it to open in a new window. We don't want to close out of our website in anybody's browser. You can see that we can link to an anchor tag, which is just like a link inside of a page. You can see here on the home page, I've got top of page links. I've got links to the services section, the testimonial section, and the contact form at the bottom. So if I wanted to have something that goes to the contact form, I could do that here. I can go top or bottom of a page. I can link to a document that I've got, phone number, all these things, right? Or I can click here and link to another page on this website, and it gives me a drop down of everything I have. So let's say I want to link to the sandbox. Done. It's going to automatically add that to the bottom over here. And then again, using that little waffle drag and drop function, you can nest it under something if you want, right? And so I'm just going to drag this and say, yep, I want that to be under contact us. And we'll get that little kind of submenu drop down function as a result of that. Now, I don't actually want sandbox here, right? That was just if we're going to add a page or a link or an item or a document or anything to this top navigation, we can go add here. I did sandbox as an example, but let's say I've built out a new page and I want to remove an old one and replace it with it. So here I'm just going to go to that ... and I can rename this. I can change how it appears in the navigation, or I can remove it from the menu entirely, right? So that's taking it out of that navigational menu. So very quickly, that was just how to edit the top menu of your Wix Studio page to add new pages or new items, and just how to manage that navigation that your customers and website visitors are interacting with. Now I want to talk about those actual page settings. So you're going to come over here to Pages. And this is particularly important if you are deactivating pages or you want to make sure that they're not being indexed or found by Google at all. And all of this is going to be in the settings. So when I am deactivating a page, one of the first things that I'm going to do is come over here to this dot, 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 and I am going to rename that to be inactive. So I'm going to call this sandbox and inactive. And all that does for me is help me understand, like, these are old pages, right? Or these are inactive pages that are not being used, because otherwise there's not a great way to differentiate what's live on your site, what that menu is actually linking to. The next thing I'm going to do in this dot, dot, dot is I'm going to systematically kind of go through a few different settings to make sure that this page never gets found. So I'm going to go to dot, dot, dot and settings. In there first, I've got this, what is my page's name in the menu? Well, it's not in the menu. I made sure of that a second ago. But I'm going to come over to permissions, and I am going to give this page a password. Here, I'm just going to say something super strong like password 1, exclamation point. So that way, if this ever appears, somebody has to put in a password to actually get to it. Make it more complicated than this. The second thing that I'm going to do is go to SEO Basics up here in the tab. And I'm going to change 2 things in this setting. The first is the URL slug. This is what comes after your url.com/. For your live pages, it needs to make sense, and it's important for SEO that it does. But for your inactive pages, a lot of times I will change it to gook, because it doesn't matter. I don't need anybody to be able to guess it, and I definitely don't want it showing up. I'm not worried about title tag or meta description here because I don't want Google to find it. And then the last thing that I'm going to check is this let search engines index. This means that Google can serve up this page. When this is on, I'm going to toggle this radio button really fast. When this is on, Google is allowed to find and serve up this page in search results. When this is off or grayed out, like it is now, Google is not allowed to do that. So if you do not want a page to be discovered, you need to make sure that this is off. Now, when I password protect something, it automatically turns this off because that's not relevant, right? But I just want to show you, if I have this open to everyone, and I go to this SEO Basics, I go all the way down, it will allow you to say, yes, Google, you can see this, or no, Google, you can't. And let's see, turned on, looks like this. Mine's highlighting in blue, yours might show green, but this means Google can find it. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to go back and password protect this again. So just to review, to make a page invisible or hidden, you want to make sure that in these settings, you have a password protected page with a garbled URL slug, and make sure that Google is not allowed garbled URL slug, and make sure that Google is not allowed to index that page. I usually rename these as inactive or hidden or not visible. and you want to make sure that that is not accessible in your heading navigation. And that's it.